Hi everyone. Today we're going to see how we can use the Datawiza Access Broker, or DAB, to set up single sign-on and granular access control with a web application. Moving legacy applications to the cloud can present challenges. Providing a lift and shift architecture that requires minimal re-engineering is a highly desirable solution. With Datawiza's Access Broker, we have the ability to modernize legacy IAM solutions without rewriting code for existing applications. We'll walk through a demo where we deploy the DAB in front of a sample web app using Auth0 as our IDP. This web app is running locally, currently on my local Docker network on port 3001. This web app is a vanilla header-based application for demonstration purposes. It currently has no single sign-on or access control capabilities and is expecting user information to be passed via header. It has a few different tabs, one for sales and one for HR, and serves as a good example where we can later implement rule-based access control. The tutorial we'll be following is available on docs.datawiza.com, along with a series of other tutorials with different identity providers, such as Azure Active Directory and OKTA. We start the configuration process by visiting console.datawiza.com. Here we can create a free account to play around with a few sample deployments. I'll create a new deployment called Auth0 and generate a set of provisioning keys. These keys will be used when using Docker Compose to deploy the Access Broker and are responsible for getting the latest set of configuration options from the Datawiza Cloud Management Console, or DCMC. If you'd like to run the DAB using Kubernetes, you can find Kubernetes-specific instructions, specifically for AKS, on our documentation homepage for a more in-depth tutorial. Navigating back to console.datawiza.com, we'll now go ahead and create an application called demo and set the following fields. We'll set the public domain to localhost 9772, which is where our application will be externally accessible, and the upstream server to my local Docker network for 3001. For each application that we create, we can assign a number of identity providers. In this case, I've created an Auth0 IDP and assigned it to this application. If we go and take a closer look at the attributes for each IDP, they will be a bit different depending on which one you choose. In this case, for Auth0, we need to specify audience, issuer, client secret, and client ID. If we chose an IDP like Azure, we need to specify fields like tenant ID, client ID, and client secret. We can optionally enable SSL connections and enable comprehensive access control policies. For now, we've set our default action here as allow, which means that if no policy rules are triggered by users, we still want them to be able to access our application. If you'd like to implement more complex access control-based policies, you can visit the tutorial Secure a Web App with Auth0 and navigate to Section 5. So part 5 here is Achieve Granular Access Control. We're now ready to run the Access Broker. Simply navigate back to our shell and say Docker Compose up in order to run the sample Docker Compose YAML file that we provide. We can find the example of such a file in Section 3. Once this is done, we should be able to open up a new browser and navigate to localhost 9772. We're prompted to sign in with our IDP. And once we've signed in using single sign-on, we are now granted access to our original web application.